President Trump says he's one of the healthiest men ever elected to the presidency. And of course, he's getting near constant medical tests to prove it. Just why is the US president really getting all kinds of weird interventions? And what does it mean about the state of the president's decision making? I'm Paul, US Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. So this has been a weird one. Trump has admitted that he just had an MRI scan, but apparently it was just cuz. Now, bizarrely enough, the 79-year-old president had his second physical of the year earlier this month, which is weird because, well, frankly, even if you're really old, you generally don't get a physical twice a year, and that physical almost never involves an MRI. During the checkup, he reportedly, according to his doctor, underwent advanced imaging, laboratory testing, and preventative health assessments conducted by a multidisciplinary team of specialists. Guys, none of that is involved in a routine physical. Now, while on board Air Force One, the president, instead of lying about his test, said he had an MRI. He said, "I got an MRI. It was perfect. I gave you the full results." He didn't. We had an MRI and the machine, the whole thing, and it was perfect. Truly one of America's great minds. The president told CNN, Kate Collins, right? Now, an MRI, usually it's an MRI of something, right? You don't get an MRI just because there's something they want to see in the president's body. And, right, when asked about it last week, the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said, quote, "Advanced imaging is something that presidents receive and people receive when they go to the doctor. And so we provided a detailed readout of that physical." They did not. And I would encourage you back for that. Guys, does your doctor have an MRI machine? Generally, the only people I've ever seen get an MRI are people with an existing health problem that needs to be diagnosed, right? Or assessed in some way. And it's pretty weird given that something is definitely up with the president's health, because you might recall just a few weeks ago, there was the Trump is dead rumors when he disappeared for 6 days straight, and then mysteriously reappeared, right? But not before posting what he said was an image of him playing golf, despite the fact that it was transparently obvious that the person he was playing with had played on that course in that outfit 2 days prior to the president's disappearance. Very weird stuff, right? And the fact is that this is a large part of a larger trend that we've talked about on this channel of health concerns around President Trump. Now, we've all seen the bruises on his hand on multiple occasions and the terrible job he tries to do covering them up, right? Now, 3 months after he was inaugurated, he reportedly had a physical, and then included a MOCA, a Montreal Cognitive Assessment Test, and dropped low-key that he had cataract surgery, which was not disclosed during his first presidency. And then in July, they said Trump had been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. So he was diagnosed with something that didn't appear in the previous physical examination, right? It also said that, they did vascular tests we didn't tell you about, but it confirmed that Trump had swelling on his legs at the time of diagnosis, right? Large bruises continue to appear on his hands for months. J.D. Vance actually stated in August of this year that he was totally ready to become president. And that day, Trump was seen leaving for golf, but again, posted a photo on August 31st of himself golfing that was taken on August 23rd. Right? And of course, we talked about the fact that on the September 11th commemoration at the Pentagon, the whole right side of Trump's face was suddenly drooped down heavily, once again sparking concerns of a stroke. And the problem, the annoying part, is that this feels very familiar because literally, look, the other article I have up here is Age and Health Concerns about President Biden, where you had the same thing, where literally all people from all across the aisle said that Biden was way too old to be president, right? And the U.S. public agreed. Like, it was also transparently obvious. As early as 2022, right? James Carville, Ezra Klein, Michelle Goldberg, Maureen Dowd said that Biden should not be running for re-election. In fact, and a lot of people felt that the implicit deal with Biden was that he was a caretaker president who would restore trust in institutions and then pass the baton in a predictable, systematic fashion to someone else, or oversee an open presidential primary, right? And he had all of these gaffes. So many people were trying to drop the fact that that Biden was not cognitively fit. And it was just so obvious to everyone. And yet the White House continued to deny it and deny it and deny it. Even today, some of the Biden staff continue to maintain that he could have absolutely knocked out 4 years of the presidency. FYI, guys, not possible. Literally, just as soon as he left the White House, he was diagnosed with a very aggressive and likely terminal case of prostate cancer. So, like, all of those age concerns totally funded. And so, like, it's completely valid for us to ask really pointed questions about the president's current health. And the fact, again, that he's getting these MRIs implies that something is wrong. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, listen to the cope coming out of the press secretary. She said, quote, "The president is in incredibly good shape, and I think it's evidenced here every single day." She continued, which is, by the way, the exact same argument that people used about Biden to not disclose his actual health information. They said the best evidence is that he's doing the presidency every day. That's not it, right? And then the secretary said, MRI stands for magnetic resource imaging. It is not. It is MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging, I think. Let me see if that's true, right? Yeah, I'm right. It stands for magnetic resonance imaging. So truly one of America's great minds up there, and is a type of medical scan that takes detailed pictures of the inside of your body. No shit, Sherlock. Why do you need detailed pictures of the inside of the president's body, right? They can, like, it's not part of a standard checkup, and it was not part of previous presidencies' workups. I don't know what else to tell you. Now, here's what's more troubling. We've talked about the fact that even that Trump's, parents, Trump's father particularly, had dementia, being overweight or obese, a real risk factor for dementia, and many of the behaviors that the president has exhibited, like Joe Biden, is also related to dementia, right? We've talked about the bizarre, aggressive, and threatening behavior, sort of apathy, obviously dementia itself, the forgetfulness, but also delusions, right? Delusions that things aren't happening that really are, right? Impulsive or disinhibited behavior, like the increase in profanity. And some of these things, again, we saw with Joe Biden, stuff like sleep disruptions, where he was seen with a CPAP mask markings and then wandering and getting lost, right? Something we definitely saw with him. And a lot of the delirium dementia, where they forget things. But again, that doesn't mean that, two old men can have dementia, and they can look very differently. And we're seeing this here, I think, allegedly or whatever. Right? One could argue that Trump's repeated aggressive and threatening behavior, which is on a whole other level relative to his behaviors in the first presidency. Again, you see, the delusions of like the fantasies about Antifa, like destroying cities. Guys, none of these cities are destroyed by Antifa. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, you can log in, just Google live webcam Portland, and you'll see that's not true. But all of this is very true. Also, the wandering and getting lost, not uncommon, right? We saw Trump, for example, wandering around the roof of the White House, which could have been in preparation for his ballroom. But all of this, I mean, you have to admit that cognitively, this is not the same president from 2016. I mean, just look at a random Trump rally. Just watch the whole thing and tell me that the man who's giving these press conferences, who's speaking now, is cognitively the same as that person from 2016. He's just not. And the fact that, again, the U.S. public has a very refined BS meter on this sort of thing is not a coincidence. It's because another administration also lied through their teeth about the health and cognitive fitness of the American president. And in likelihood, some of that, I believe, Biden's cognitive inflexibility, his indecision, his inability to synthesize all the facts and choose a course of action is one of the reasons why I actually think that the Ukraine is still stuck fighting, because instead of Biden making a decision, it was consensus of his advisors. But you can't fight a war by consensus, right? You can't be like, well, we're going to choose the consensus strategy, which is a little of everything, right? Imagine if we had fought World War II and said, well, we're going to do a little bit of everything. Instead of just having one invasion in Europe, we're going to simultaneously invade Sicily for some reason, and we're going to invade Denmark, and we're going to invade France, and we're going to fight in Africa, and we're going to like assist the Soviet Union. We're going to do it all. None of it would have worked because it all would have had like 5 soldiers. So again, the fact that I believe that Biden's cognitive decline had real measurable impacts on U.S. foreign policy is troubling, because if that's true, that's also clearly true. Like Trump's attitude, his disposition, his paranoia, his aggression is also showing real signs and really impacting U.S. policy. So again, just file this in your I told you so file in your mind for the next time when, again, it comes out that he actually isn't all that cognitively intact. Anyway, that's all I had, guys. Thanks to Alfred Chesky, Alan Knudsen, Christine Schumann, Dan M., Deborah Oppenheimer, and all of our folks at Combat Vet News. Couldn't do it without you guys. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.